Good evening, everybody. Another Premier League season is upon us, and it is Chelsea against Liverpool, the first match of the season. And yeah, we will have lots to discuss. I imagine a lot of people obviously know what we're about to discuss anyway, but I'm delighted to say that I've been joined by two fabulous guests from Anfield Road TV. We have Mr. Jack McIndoe. How are you, mate?
Not too bad, lads. Stressed as today with the news. We'll debrief all three of us. But yeah, looking forward to it. Should be a cracker of a game. Both teams going with a lot of anticipation. Obviously, with all the transfers in from both clubs. But yeah, nice one for invite me, mate. Always good to speak to Ankit as always. And yeah, I'm just made up. Like 3 days away or 2. Well, tomorrow's Burnley City game.
Yeah.
But I made up football is back for all of us, really, because we've missed it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, and as you can see, we are joined by Ankit from Almighty Blues FC. How are you, mate?
Always good when I'm here. Obviously, like I call Doug and of course Jack as well. Like some of the OGs that when we got into YouTube and we were like, became these football friends and which has never, kind of ended then. We were waiting, let's be real. As much as we know that a lot of breaks are good, but real football is Premier League football. As in, let's be real about it, right? But the first match, Liverpool-Chelsea, I don't know what it is about us. Firstly, drawing so early, and we know that we've played out so many draws. And then there's a war before the war that we're just talking off stage about the transfers. So I think it couldn't get better, as in it's hyped as ever. As in, yes, Liverpool Chelsea have always been good matches, generally, even if it's 0-0 for the God's sake. But I do know that this time, I think there's a different oomph that comes into it with the first match and the transfers war, right? Doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Yes, the last 4 games like 0-0. So it's something's got to give, and yeah, fingers crossed that we see goals. Anyway, but good evening to everyone who is watching. I will go through everyone who has come in. PB Talks was in early. Hello, mate. Prasanna, hope you are well. Go check out PB Talks. As well, Almighty Sports Plus as well, Ankit's other channel. Hello, Brian. Good evening. Hope you're well. Good evening, Chris from the lovely Stranraer. Yes, lovely Stranraer in Scotland. So I go away on holiday and it kicks off. I'm a jinx and a curse. We'll get into it. We will get into it. Do not worry. As well. Hello, Sportcat as well. Hope you're well. Chelsea Liverpool last 4 games 0-0. Yep, we just said that. Hello, Doreen as well. Hope you're well. This Lavia and Caicedo transfer, though, we'll get into it. We will get into it. Do not worry about that. Binay Uchai, hello. What is your prediction, guys, of Chelsea? We will get into that as well. Hello, Diz, as well. And Liz Golden is in as well. Hello, Liz, as well. Right, we will basically start, transfers. We will start with, obviously, Chelsea's transfers. We'll start with your transfers in, because I've been kind of looking at these players who have obviously came in. And when we look at this, Christopher Nkunku, obviously from RB Leipzig, I think it's a very good move. Unfortunately, he is injured and will not be for this match. Axel Disasi, Nicolas Jackson, Leslie Ugochukwu, Robert Sanchez, and Angelo. Are you happy with your transfers so far?
See, considering we were 12th, and I don't want to say it's almost embarrassing, but that is what we were, right? As in, I get that, obviously. I love my club and it's Chelsea and we've been there, done that. But the reality is, like, again, I don't want to disrespect anyone here, but the fact is, if Declan Rice and Kai Havertz move to Arsenal, and even though they've not been in the Champions League for 7 years, but the year that they are in the Champions League, we finished 12th. And it clearly shows that there is a pull, right? So considering that, I think to be able to scout for a change, which I know Liverpool, I envy over the years, because we sign a lot of players, but a scouting system is questionable at best. So I think, considering what I've seen in preseason, and I won't lie, I won't know every bit of them, having seen them week in, week out, but they do look good. They do look good. I'm happy, but am I satisfied? Probably not. And that is the reason we are still in the transfer war about midfielders, because I think, let's be real, I think in a window, when you have a Mason Mount, a Kai Havertz, a Ngolo Kante, and a Kovacic, apart from maybe a Ruben Loftus-Cheek, put him there as well. And I know Ziyech could play attacking mid. I think we are talking about potentially 6 players in the midfield region, right? And these 6 players are players who won us Club World Cups and Champions Leagues. So I think this is not expected. I did get that we need to change, but it's a bit too much. And I'm pretty sure Liverpool will feel the same, because I know
Yeah,
bids come and you get tempted. I get that, but there has to be a plan with that. So I think with the midfield, I think our planning has gone a little bit haywire. We've been putting all eggs in one basket, in the Ugarte basket to begin with, and now the Caicedo basket, and then all of a sudden the Lavia comes in. So there has got to be a plan DE as well when we are in the Premier League fighting, for all these signings. So I'm not totally satisfied, but I would say I would rate it like a 7 out of 10. If we can get Caicedo over the line, then definitely it's an 8.5 out of 10. Because
yeah,
goalkeeper, I have my questions.
yeah. I mean, Jack, what do you make of Chelsea's business in this summer?
I know Ankit was saying it was a lot of business, and I understand his concern, but I think from an outgoing perspective from Chelsea, tremendous. I think you look in the Premier League, you've got to get good value for money. I think when you look at a Poch, as we've all seen in the Premier League, I know everyone goes, oh, he failed at Paris Saint-Germain, but a lot of managers are very much, apologies there, chat. Joe, when someone's trying to ring you, it's me mother. When we're live! So apologies. Yeah, no, I think obviously recouping the money that they did. I know Mason Mount probably had a year left on his contract. So excellent business. 60 million, Pulisic 18, close to 20 million as well. Loftus-Cheek 18 million. So Kovacic 30 million for a year left on his contract as well.
Yeah.
65 million for Kai Havertz. And was that
honestly, it's an absolute miracle you managed to get him.
Yeah, I was going to say, was that something, Ankit, that did you buy him for something similar, a similar price as well for that?
Yeah. So the thing is, I had the great opportunity to actually meet him when Chelsea, called me, and I'm like, I actually took a promise from him, and I'm telling, I've actually shared it a lot of times, that him and Trevor Chalobah were the people, and I said, like, don't ever leave Chelsea for the next 6 years. And obviously, any player is going to say yes, and after he won the Champions League. But the utter truth is, yes, definitely, no one would have imagined that would have got more money out of Kai Havertz than Mason Mount or Kovacic. It's unbelievable. But that's how it is, because he's adaptable, he's versatile. But I get that point, Jack, what you're saying, that about the business in terms of finances, yes. See, that is where the difference comes in. Like, Abramovich era was not about getting the money, while we did make money then as well, and we pumped money. But I think the reality is that we need to be back when it comes to competing for the very top, and that's what Poch has spoken the right things. But at the end of the day, you need to compete. So there's the reason why we are in the bidding war, because you don't want your opposition, your rivals, to get the players that you could possibly fit in. Like, I was very surprised, and I know that Onana would have gone for Manchester United anyway because of the ETH connections and all. But if you are getting interest for Kepa right now, maybe you would have marketed that a little bit better earlier. You would have negotiated. You mentioned about Pulisic, like when Pulisic and Ruben Loftus-Cheek go to Milan, that, and at that point Tonali wasn't yet sold to Newcastle. You can easily, there is a way that you can let Milan get the money, get Maignan, which was your first preference, sell them both together, and that Marina, as in what she used to do with Chelsea, that is one good thing that she used to, that we missed still. So fine, but bottom line, do we tick all the boxes? Not yet, but we are getting there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, when we're looking at across the the bottom of your screen, I mean, the transfers out, Jack. I mean, Kai Havertz, 65 million is absolutely amazing. How they managed to get that amount of money for him is beyond me as well. Mason Mount, 60 million as well. Koulibaly was a big disappointment. Christian Pulisic, Edouard Mendy, Ruben Loftus-Cheek as well. There's a lot of experience that has gone out there, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's like you look at City, you look at Liverpool, you look at Chelsea. Arsenal got a very young team, to say the least. It's always a case point. Every 10 years, every squad needs to change the cycle, really, and bring in. Yes, we all speak about young players, but they eventually get that experience. Of course, we all want the instant gratification of getting players in now straight away. But I think Poch and certain other managers of his ilk, really, and get that Chelsea is massive. Chelsea has been, especially, I'm only 28, but a large portion of, we were speaking about Liverpool, Chelsea's rivalry in the European sense as well. Chelsea for me are probably, especially over the last 20 years, the third, the most successful. They've been winning countless trophies season upon season. But they are probably, in the last 20, 30 years, the third biggest club in English football. Because you look at young kids or just people growing up at that era, of Chelsea dominance, and especially London. It's such an attractive proposition for any player coming in. I think we had it with Willian years ago. We were looking after him, and then Chelsea come in and gazumped that deal and got him over the line. But yeah, and get spot on, like in terms of the players and being in contention and getting that quality in. Like a club the size, the magnitude, the Chelsea Football Club deserves the best. The expectations of the fans, because the Chelsea are so used to winning a lot more than Liverpool in the last 20 years. I'll tell you that now. It's difficult when you do see such a drop off. Even Liverpool in the last 5 years, like we've won one league title in Champions League, but the consistent levels Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp in the recent years, even hence why we spoke about the Lavia deal and
I have a quick question, Jack, if I may, because you mentioned Jurgen Klopp there. Like, this is one aspect that I would like to know from you guys. Like, don't you think that the pulling power of a Pep and a Klopp definitely helps, and that's where probably Poch is something that we could have done better with? I know it's kind of hindsight. I'm happy with Poch. I'm great. I know that he's good with young players and all that. But the pulling power, like, I know Liverpool as a club obviously has, same as Chelsea, but the fact that you have some Europe we don't have. Now you have Klopp, we have Poch. Now there, probably you will say that, and that's probably the difference maker when you're going to talk about transfers.
I'd say if Poch, mate, was at a club bigger than Tottenham in his history, if Poch was at a Chelsea or a City or a Liverpool about 5 years ago, I think that attraction would have been a lot more easier, to say the least.
Yeah,
mate.
by now.
But
correct.
yeah, I think he'll definitely attract the players. Because I think we've all seen over the last couple of years the law, hence why he got the Paris Saint-Germain job. Yes, he failed, but plenty of managers have failed at Paris Saint-Germain. That's like the hierarchy of the football club. But yeah, I agree, mate. The law, but I think with Chelsea now, they are a bastion in the Premier League. They are massive. They're a big institution, and I don't think, and especially the purse strings that Chelsea have got under Todd Bowley, I don't think any issues for Poch. It's just a matter of time whether Chelsea as a club give Poch time, which is historically not been a thing.
Very questionable at best.
Yeah, quite questionable. But it's give you a lot of success, though, mate. It has been proven.
And that's the thing, right? Because the Stamford Bridge faithful, I'm just imagining, as in right now it's rosy, it's good. And I know before I get happy, Chelsea fans can't afford to be happy. I was happy for a week, and then Nkunku is out for 4 months. So I know what I feel. But the reality is, like, this is a manager who's done very well while in preseason, and he's spoken the right things. He has got some experience. He learned a lot from PSG despite not being very successful there. But we cannot forget the Stamford Bridge going faithful will remember the night of the Battle of the Bridge when things go bad. And that's where I would like to see how patient we are as a fan base, because that's the key at the end of the day. Because pretty sure Klopp and Pep and others, like the Ancelottis of the world, the Mourinhos of the world, are not available anymore, right? To kind of move about every year. So somewhere down the line, we have to be patient as well, right, Doug?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in that list, Anka, is there anyone you're sad to see go? I mean, obviously, I think the biggest one for me is obviously Ngolo Kante. I know he's been injured a lot. Cesar Azpilicueta, I mean, he was a mainstay in that Chelsea side. Is there anyone you're sad to see go in that list?
See, again, the two things, right? If you ask my head and if you ask my heart, right? So if I'm a heart, the way that I felt for these players, and I think Doug and people who might follow me know that I might have tweeted, and it was pretty emotional. I'll be very honest. It was pretty emotional. Of course, like I said about the Kai Havertz story, because he personally met me and stuff like that. So it was like, wow, don't break my heart, that kind of thing. But again, that happens. But I would say that the people who actually really, really, as in moon me, were like, come on, as in please, as in two people going on a free. N'Golo Kante, for sure, like you said, like the guy is not spoken about enough, and I understand, like you can relate. I know that Thiago is not that level, but he's great as well, right? And I know that his different profile of a player, but not having a player available week in, week out, but when he plays, that you got to get 9 out of 10, and that is what N'Golo Kante was. It's very rare in this day and age to get that kind of commitment from a player, and that's what we'll miss big time, especially the midfield that we are fighting for. I don't know why we let him go on a free, but we respect that, and that's what Chelsea's been, so fair enough. I think Azpi, without a shadow of a doubt, Azpi was a leader, and that's one of the reasons why Reece James has become that now the captain, because for me, if you listen to Reece James' dad, he spent a lot of time even before joining Chelsea with Aspie. That's the kind of personality the Reece James is and Aspie was. So I think that will definitely help. But as a player, I would not so hurt with Aspie because we knew that he was like not that level anymore. But I think the real answer to this question, I'll be somewhere down there, I'm hiding it. The fact is, it's Mason Mount because the guy, as in people who do the dirty work, are not spoken about enough. Talk about Ngolo Kante, but he does a little bit of both, and he's still very young. And yes, he's trolled a lot, just like Havertz is. But trust me, it'll be a good signing for Manchester United. I genuinely believe that Mason Mount, and that hurt me the most, especially coming from him, and he didn't care about the fans. But I understand from his perspective totally. Apart from him, I don't think that there are really big names. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, yes, but again, even like Aspie as a player, not there anymore.
I'll be honest, I forgot Baba Rahman was like. There's a couple of players in there. I'm like, were they still at Chelsea? Bakayoko, I remember. Aubameyang has been an absolute disaster.
We let go Matic and we got Bakayoko. As in, who could have done that? And from Monaco, we didn't go. We let go Mbappe when he was very young. We had a chance to at least go back and try for Mbappe. No, we wanted Bakayoko at that point. That's our scouting. Wow.
Yeah, and just very, very quickly, because obviously there is another transfer that's going to Chelsea. Tyler Adams, are you happy with that one?
See, as in, again, when you talk about midfield, you always have in say championship winning teams. I remember back in the day we had Jeremy. People, I'm sure you remember, right? Jeremy, he did a lot of dirty work. He was very versatile on the right hand side as well. He played at times. I remember both at the back as well as the midfield. I think Tyler Adams comes across as that kind of a player who's a very good road runner. We were just talking about Mason Mount, but in midfield, plus he's versatile. And if I'm not wrong, he has captained the US team for a couple of occasions, if I'm not wrong. So I'm assuming around 25 years of age, if I'm not wrong, he does bring some amount of leadership, which we lack. Knows the Premiership. Yes, 25 million bargain for sure. Is he a starter? If you want to aim, say, at least top 4, week in, week out, probably not, if I'm being honest, right? But I rather have him than if you had kept someone who doesn't want to be there. And that's why we let go a lot of players, which is very clear the way we played last season. So I think it's okay. But should we have gone a little bit before, ahead of time? Yes, because I believe he's injured as well right now. So if you're going for bidding for Lavia, him as well as Caicedo, was there a plan? And especially when you're 2 days from a Chelsea-Liverpool game, and that's a little bit of questionable decision for me in terms of the midfield. But other than that, I'm happy with the player.
Yeah, well, when we come to Liverpool, Jack, I mean, the window started really well. Let me just say that. The window started extremely well because we got these two in, Dominic Szoboszlai and Alexis McAllister. But that's it. Now, we're going into this season very, very underprepared. What the hell is going on at us?
Massively underprepared, mate. Like, if we get... Like, we have, I think, technically we've got one of the smallest squads, and people try and spin it as, oh, it's good that we've got... No. If Van Dijk gets injured, Ibu gets injured, we had it like 3-4 years ago, the club, the stature of Liverpool should have much better quality. This summer, every Liverpool fan said over the last 3-4 windows when they've been open, look at the Arthur Melo nonsense that happens. And even that season where we got Kabak and Davis at the back. Yes, we got Ibu 6 months later in the other window following, but it's an absolute disgrace, really. Like, you look at not just Liverpool, but certain clubs in the Premier League, how they run. Like, the lack of football and understanding of people just... Like, and the amount of revenue that is available, Chelsea, Liverpool, United, City, the money's there to be spent. It's just that case in point of... I think every football fan sounds, it's about the quality of the player. It doesn't about the price tag. The Premier League is the best league in the world. You look at the American market as well, it's massive. Like, over the next 5-10 year period, it's going to grow even much bigger. And the world in terms of the Premier League rights, so around the world. So, but yeah, it's not good enough, mate, in terms of what do we find ourselves 2-3 days away from playing Chelsea, and we're scraping round for deals here and there.
I mean, this is the thing as well. The transfers out: Fabinho, Jordan Henderson, Naby Keita, James Milner, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. There's 5 midfielders already that have gone out. Roberto Firmino was the biggest one for me. Fabio Carvalho obviously on a loan. Sepp Vandenberg on a loan. Calvin Ramsey on a loan. Reece Williams also on a loan. That's 10 players out and 2 in.
It's mad, though, mate. And people will caveat that with, oh, it's only one first teamer. It doesn't matter. Every club in the Premier League needs a fully functional squad. Even if there's a player within your team that gets 20 games in a Premier League campaign, even if it's 20 minutes, that still utilises the fundamental whole squad as a whole, really. There will be injuries. There will be players in and out of form. We're going to end up having to run McAllister and Szoboszlai into a brick wall. Similar that we've literally just spent the last 5 years of running Fabinho into a wall. Similar with N'Golo Kante. If he was rotated over the last 5 years, even at his time at Leicester, he wouldn't have burnt out as much as he has over the last 2-3 years. Injuries have destroyed him. He was one of the world's best, Kante, as well. But he's a massive miss to Chelsea. But I'm pretty sure with the new lads that they've signed, is it the Rennes DM, or you'll have the quality. But for Liverpool, mate, it's we'll get told and we'll get given the PR stories over the next couple of days. Oh, we tried to get Caicedo, we tried to get Lavia, but we couldn't. But we've been getting fed that for the last 5 years, mate, in terms of the window. It's not a point of like Liverpool fans being selfish. It's we want more, and we deserve more. And everyone goes, "Oh, you spent Nunes." I'd much rather we spent 60-100 million pounds on a midfielder than an attacker. Like, it's mad.
No, Jack, that's what I was more surprised at the Fabinho one. I understand Henderson, I understand the others, but the Fabinho one was like, I was like, really? As in, for me, Thiago is great, and again, he makes a huge difference. But that profile of a player of Fabinho, I know that he didn't have the great year either. But I don't think Fabinho is that age where you can just call that, okay, he's finished. I don't think there's a huge difference, because Henderson, even when he was playing well, he does something beautifully. I know he's your captain and all that, but I think in terms of just the skill level, I think for what they're asked to do, I think Fabinho, I would still have that in this Liverpool team. So I was surprised, but again, money talks like this here, right? And hopefully they can use that money, as in for Liverpool's sake, probably will be hoping that that money is used, but it's about the intent more than the money in terms of the FSG is what I understand, right?
Yeah, you're spot on there, and I'm pretty sure your lads have done this window. You've probably bought players, but you've waited. And you're spot on there. Liverpool should have waited to sell Fabinho before we'd even make these bids for Lavia. And it's crazy. It's just the people running at the football club in terms of transfers just haven't got a Scooby-Doo. Like, I don't know what they are thinking. He's our only recognised DM. I know we've got Pochettino, and people are trying to pass off now that Curtis Jones can play the 6. He's a tremendous talent, but no, he's not.
I mean, he did. This is the thing that really annoys me, is that people are actually expecting Curtis Jones to be that DM already.
That's a fault on Klopp, though, mate. Like, if he's
100%
force him into that position.
Yeah,
he's done brilliantly as an 8, mind you. In the last couple of months, I remember Curtis Jones was arguably one of your better midfielders.
Yeah.
He's been very, very good, and I think he did have a very, very good. Obviously, Euros for England. Obviously, England did go on and win that. But I just think that the pressure of obviously him coming in to play DM, and obviously we haven't got a DM, and we will get on to obviously Lavia and Caicedo, because that's absolutely mad with what is happening. But I do think it is a lot of added pressure to Curtis Jones. But yeah, Fabinho, I think it just took us by surprise, Ankit. I'll be honest. I don't think anyone expected both Fabinho and Henderson to be going.
I think there was almost like a pleasant surprise for FSG, I'm assuming, right? As in terms of the amount that they were receiving, I'm assuming, right? As in that could be the only thing that you can maybe think about. It's weird. See, that's the thing. As in, again, respect. And Saudi, as in being an Asian myself, I love the fact that there's football going to the next level. Yes, but for players' perspective, I don't think it was the right move either, even for Fabinho, as in, if I'm being very honest, because for me, Liverpool forward, trust me, I think I've already said in my channel, I think just forward line, Liverpool has the best forward line in the Premier League for me. That's how good your forward line is, right? But everyone, and it's almost like, You all remember when Arsene Wenger was trying to do things as in he was great, don't get me wrong, but towards the end of his career, he was almost like, no, I want to do it my way. And everyone could see that they
Yeah.
needed this hard tackling midfielder and a good tall defender, but no. Arsene Wenger just wanted to play football, right? So it's almost like
Yeah.
Klopp, he knows that a plan B was required for Liverpool, even last season. And yes, Liverpool did improve towards the end and get fifth. But you can almost argue it's because of teams like Chelsea and a couple of others who kind of fell off the pace, along with Liverpool doing slightly better. I don't think, from a footballing perspective, he tried the 4-2-3-1 or other formations a bit too much. So I think that would have told that, okay, we need another number 6. I think the fact that he always goes with that 4-3-3, I'm assuming he's like, okay, we'll make do with it. Or maybe it's the FSG telling. I don't know, one of the two. But I would like to ask you, what about Trent? You asked about Curtis Jones. Trent, I know he's not a number 6 per se, but giving him that little bit further role to begin with rather than in game, like you've seen for England, is that a possibility?
I mean, we've obviously seen him potentially going into this sort of hybrid role. The only problem we've got, though, is when he goes into that sort of hybrid role, it leaves a lot of space on the sort of the right-hand side. I know we're trying to sort of integrate into sort of a back three, but I think you'll probably see towards probably the start of the season, I think probably Trent will still be right back. Would you agree, Jack?
Yeah, I'm just already envisioning what's going to happen in 3 days' time. I'm going to drop us a message. There's space on the right-hand side again, boys.
Mudryk, I remember the Mudryk versus Milner battle last season.
Oh, please, don't remind me of that one. I still have nightmares about that. I'm pretty sure Milner did this as well.
Yeah.
There's going to be so much space down that, and especially when we've already spoke about there's no defensive player there. You might as well play a 5-5 formation. No midfield, just attack. Just go on, boys. Go
In fact, both teams, you said it right. Both the teams, because while you are fearing that, I know right now, touchwood, we have Chilwell, but if Chilwell is not there, I'm not confident. Brighton has done one there to us. I'm not confident. And your right hand side, as far as Trent defensively is woeful, but attacking wise, he knows his stuff, man. Come on. So I think it'll be an exciting game for sure, right? This time I cannot see a 0-0, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's one of the most creative sixes, but it's mad, mate. He can play that role, but he's still a young player. I think he's probably second or third best passer in the Premier League, but I think he's still got to learn that role. I think it'd be another 2 years until we've seen the best of Trent in the midfield. But it's going to be mad, mate. You look at Ibu as well. I think he's still a young player. Some of a couple of Chelsea defenders as well. You do see quite a lot of rashness from young centre halves in the Premier League as well. He's still learning that, and Ibu's made of glass at the minute. Obviously, that injury last season, but he's him and Van Dijk. You literally got your fingers crossed every time they play. Just don't get injured. In those attacking transitions, as we'll find out this weekend, and Doug, and chat, it's gonna be. It's gun ho. I'm hoping there'll be a lot of goals for both teams, but it could go either way. It definitely. Well, I say this, I'm saying hoping it's not a definite draw. History would say it would, but I think with both managers, there'll be a lot of goals, hopefully, and it'll just be mad. It'll probably be one of those opening games of the season, and you're there's a lot of both managers or fans won't like the game, but the neutrals might. It's just going to be crazy.
But I wish, I know that we don't mind it, obviously, being the first game, but I wish that this game was after the transfer window, because things would have been a little bit more, as in it almost feels like, you remember the game that we had, was it the season before last? Again, Anthony Taylor was the ref, if I'm not wrong, there as well. And I think we got a red card. It was 1-1. Kai Havertz scored a goal, I remember. And I think that was a pretty good game to watch until that Reece James red card, which was again. But the fact being that I think early Liverpool-Chelsea game, probably I feel that there might be a little bit of too much respect given to each other. Do you see that happening for the first few minutes? And maybe a little bit circumspect, because I think you are missing a midfielder for sure. Plus, we don't have Nkunku now. Arguably, Nkunku was a player of the preseason, right? Along with Nicolas Jackson. Also, I was
going to say, Nicolas Jackson. He's an absolutely terrorised us on the weekend, mate. That's one thing that I don't think the neutrals that you picked up last season as well, mate, when you watched us on the highlights or whatnot. like balls over behind. We are so like that's our kryptonite, really.
Exactly.
Balls over the top. Jackson's got that pace to run onto.
I think the Modric Jackson combo.
Mm.
Again, it's too early days. Preseason is never, as in Ross Barkley used to be player of the preseason. We all remember that. And I know he's not so bad, but let's be real. He's not that level of player. So I would still, hold my horses. I'm like, no, okay, fine. He looks good. But the fact is, when you play at Stamford Bridge, against Liverpool, that'll be a true test. And I think, Nkunku is injured, but I'm not so sad about this game because I know in this game, anyway, I would have picked Modric to play that role, But in behind Jackson, now this. So Poch, what he likes, again, all of you have seen Tottenham, right? And even PSG to some extent. So he likes his fullbacks to bomb on. He likes this aggressive pressing of the middle, and he likes the striker to kind of, do a lot of link up, and which Harry Kane worked beautifully. And that's how he developed as a footballer. Jackson is the answer to that. Simple. He is the answer. Only problem with Jackson is while he links up very well, going back and connecting the line when you get a cross, he's not a good header of the ball. And that's where we were linked to Vlahovic, which is, I believe, too expensive. But I agree that small triangles that he forms with his link ups is something which is key. And the one behind, where you mentioned Jack, I think that's where Modric will really be crucial.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, we better get on to this. Was it 24 hours ago? Chelsea put in a bid for Lavia, £48 million. Now Liverpool have been haggling over $5 million for Romeo Lavia. Rewind on to 10, 11 o'clock this morning, and Liverpool outbid for Moises Caicedo. Now, the one thing that is really baffling me, Jack, is we're haggling over $5 million for Lavia. How can we all of a sudden afford Caicedo?
Must have found a magical bag of money or something, like the owners or something. Or went over a rainbow or something and FSG found something. Oh, we found 50 quid down the back of the couch. Yeah, we'll use that. I just don't know. It's typical. We know all about every Premier League club. The fans get fed PR. Like we all very well adversed at this moment in time. Every fan around the world. You're respectable journalists, but it's weird. I know that the one weird thing is that Fabrizio Romano's come out and he's usually got on top of things. Even Cucurella going to Chelsea last year, he was having back and forth with Brighton journalists, even though Fabrizio was in the right and he got proven right as well. So he's got.
I think she was wrong there, though. Eventually, let's see.
He got there in the end. It's weird, mate. And whoever does get Caicedo, whether it's Liverpool, Chelsea, or even Bayern today, rumoured to be coming in for them.
Yeah.
Like tremendous world-class talents. We've already mentioned Kante. He was, for the last 5-6 years, the best DM holding midfielder in world football when he was playing in his tip-top form. Whoever gets him is getting a tremendous player. Would elevate either Liverpool or Chelsea. It would take us up a notch and help us get into top 4 or even better, getting some trophy wins as well. But whether Liverpool can afford it, we can't. We can afford it for me. The fact that the owners are taking Liverpool fans for an absolute ride, have done for the last couple of years.
That's the one thing that really, really angers me. And as well, Southampton have been basically completely from the start, 50 million or get lost. 50 million
because there's a really, I think, buyback clause of Man City. So why would they sell below that?
Yeah. Well, obviously, like no club is going to be able to get Lavia for less than 45, 50 million anyway, because obviously I think City got a buyback clause on 40 million anyway.
I don't blame. Yeah, I don't blame them, Doug. Or like Southampton, if you're that selling club. And you're looking at Liverpool, you're like, what are you doing, boys? We've set the price tag at 50 million.
And they need the money. They're in the championship. They want to come back, right? So I get that.
Look, I'm going to be honest. Lavia, fantastic player. Unfortunately, I don't think he's worth 50 million. I don't think. I think the fact that you're look, James Ward-Prowse is obviously going for 30 million in the championship, and I know every player has a price when it comes to this, but for me, Romeo Lavia at £50 million would be a big risk. I think as well. yes, I know obviously Caicedo potentially 95, 100 million. That but the thing is, Caicedo's played in the Premier League for the last sort of 2 years and a bit. Lavia has only really had sort of last season, and now he's not even playing as well. But Anke, out of the two, who do you think you'll get?
See, again, I understand from where you're coming in terms of they don't deserve that in terms of the price, but
Yeah.
Lavia at 19, 50 million, Caicedo at 21, 100 million. Honest, both of them don't deserve so much, right? And that's the real truth. So I get that. Like Caicedo is really someone who said that he wants to come to Chelsea. I get that, but he did the same in January for Arsenal, for all we know. And loyalty and fanhood doesn't exist in players anymore. Come on, those days are gone. The Steven Gerrard coming to Chelsea, it was never going to happen. We all knew it, right? But it was so close, right?
Nearly.
So, but as in he had the guts to say no. As in I'm a one club man. I want to be there, etc. And I know it's a different example, but I feel that, simply put, whoever gives more money probably gets the player. Simple as that. And Brighton are very clear on that. Fabricio has confirmed that. So it doesn't matter where the player wants to go footballing wise. If you ask me footballing wise, it makes sense for me if you are a Caicedo right now to come to Chelsea. The reason being is because Doug is going to join us in a minute, I believe, guys. Okay, he's back. The moment I said Caicedo, should come to Chelsea, Doug is like, okay, I'm off.
That's FSG going, end the stream. Yeah, end the stream.
Yeah. See, the footballing reason is just that because Klopp plays a 4-3-3, and I see that Caicedo as a holding pivot, he's not that guy. If you really ask me, he's more like a double pivot, or if he's asked to do that, he's more like a dynamic CDM who kind of moves about. He's a destroyer more. So with that, you can afford Chelsea because we play a 4-2-3-1. If one guy goes, you have Enzo sitting back and vice versa. So that ways. Plus, I get the fact that Liverpool also wants someone who could play right back because Trent is great going forward, but you know that defensively there are a lot of issues. So you need a backup there for sure. He could do that what he did at Brighton. But the real aspect is that he's a midfielder, so he'll think that way. So I feel that footballing wise, it makes sense for him there. But again, if you're Lavia, you're now thinking, boss, come on. For me, you didn't even go beyond 45 million. And what Doug said is right. For Caicedo, you're ready to give 100 million. So that's like double standards. So means that Liverpool are not wanting Lavia as much. Because if they really wanted, they wouldn't have waited all this while not to give that 50 million. So think about it from a player's perspective. But will they really care? They will not. That is the bottom line. They will say that they will care, but that's reality. Come on. Kai Havertz, again, someone whom I met, and I know this guy just disappointed me towards the end. But the fact is, the guy goes to Arsenal, and with all due respect, he says that this is my dream. It was never your dream. Please, your dream was to win the Champions League. You've done that with Chelsea. And same thing, Joao Felix. He's like, I love London. Come on, I want to stay here. But the moment he gets to know Chelsea are not signing him, he's likes PSG's tweets, and then he says Barcelona is my dream club. So those days are gone. So I think it's about who gives you the better deal. Kind of, is where you go. That's the reality of things, and we've seen that with the Saudis coming in. So let's be real.
Oh, jeez, exactly. Jack, who do you think we get? Lavia or Caicedo?
None. Straight away. It's PR spin for me, mate.
Come on, you'll get one, Jack. Come on, be a little bit optimistic.
I'm open. I'd love Caicedo. I'll be out in the garden. Probably get an escalate for him because.
Okay, are you guys aware? The story is about Caicedo, Jack, that the deal which Liverpool are preparing, again, is just sources. Trust me, source. But it's like a multi-year deal. So something like what David Raya has been signed by Arsenal because they didn't want to cross the FFP. So something like that. So that is how they've been able to think of such a deal. Now time will tell, what is the real deal. But I think there is a possibility that you can get either. I genuinely believe it because you have some European football as well, and Klopp, the pulling factor, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Like Tony Bloom, though, lads, and chat, he's probably rubbing his hands going 100 million. And the one thing that does my head in, but I've massive respect for Brighton and any clubs around Europe that actually do proper business. This is where Liverpool and Chelsea need to get our houses in order. We need to start buying these players before they go to the Brightons, before they go to these other European clubs for 5-10 million. I think that's one of the biggest issues is where we're buying these players for 100 million.
That is why we bought half of Brighton, Jack. Already remember?
Like even us, mate. Like it's like since our obviously two sporting directors, Edwards and Ward have gone. At the minute, it looks like we brought a new fella in York on a 6-month contract. But like for every club, you need to start, and especially the more money that's getting pumped into football, just getting starting these teams. You're telling me Chelsea and Liverpool haven't got global scouts around the world to actually pick up these talented players in South America? Like you'd think just get them for 5-10 million. Yes, it's more of it's lesser risk really if you're buying 5-10 million. No, and have you bought a load of Brazilians for like a couple of young Brazilian?
I think they're doing that now, but I remember I think Mike was it Emenalo? I think he started this loan thing, right? Which he did with Chelsea. I think we had started that way, and then somewhere midway we dropped it because we could loan only a certain amount in the Premier League, is what I understand. But now the fact that we have Strasbourg, which is a part of our club in a way, I think we can afford to do that, and that's a great point, Jack. I think probably if you ask me, like I can already say it, like we either going to be damn rich come 4 years down the line, or we're going to be back where we belong. I genuinely believe it because Angelo Gabriel, I think one of the names that Doug took when he was talking about Chelsea, I know that he's gone to Strasbourg, but for me, along with Nicolas Jackson and Nkunku, who's sadly injured, Angelo Gabriel was probably equally impressive. He was that good. So he's like ready right now. So imagine what he would be after like a season under his belt in Liga, which is again not too bad for a youngster.
Should be good, mate.
Yeah. But basically that is obviously Lavia, Caicedo. We'll wait and see. We'll literally wait and see what will happen there. But let's get on to the game, because the most important thing is obviously the game on Sunday. Ankit, how are Chelsea going into this game? Are they more prepared, do you think?
I was going to ask you the same question. Because, like, come on, like 5 preseason games. Yeah, we did not lose, technically speaking. We scored definitely more goals than what we did in the last season, I'll put it that way. But am I convinced about the crosses that Liverpool are very known to, especially from the Trent angle? Absolutely no. Absolutely hell no. I know that Disasi is coming, but he's not played a game with Chelsea. Chalobah still, there's a question mark. He may go for Fana, is injured for the season. So I have the questions at the back defensively, and I know that Liverpool, you're going to say the same thing. It's probably very similar there. So huge questions in the defense, but I get the point that we had a connection going, but again, that link is great to see. Jackson do so well. It's great to see a youngster like Carney, finding a part in Chelsea. He seems like almost like a not recent version, but a youngish Sarri version of Loftus-Cheek, if you all remember, right? He seems that kind of a player. But the issue is he's not a goal scorer. Nkunku is a goal scorer and he's injured. Mudryk hasn't scored a goal for Chelsea as much as he's taken the number 10, and it looks very flashy and nice at times, but he's very raw, right? So for me, it'll come down to who is the the big match player, and that's something that reminds me. Again, I'm going to pass, but Kai Havertz always came up in such games. A person like who's that player going to be for us? Reece James getting the captain's armband probably, but what could he do from that position in Poch ball? I'm not too sure about it yet. So I am like, if you ask me how confident are you, say I'm like, okay, fine, and we are ready to compete, but are we sure that we are in a better situation to win? Probably not, I would say.
Dan, you all right, mate? Hope you're well. Thank you for tuning in. Gaura, Sterling has been really poor. Am I right in saying he took the number 7 shirt this season?
Yeah, you know what? Firstly, Chelsea's and shirt numbers don't work, right? Do they? At least recently. But Sterling, I don't know, like what to say. As in, did he really come just for a check? Because as in, he was overweight for a while. The guy was injured for a while last season, and I know that again he has those flashes, running around that he does the way that he does. But he's far different than the player he was at Liverpool, right? And City, he played a different role. We don't play that way. So somewhere down the line, he's back to goal. You don't associate Sterling that way, right? Do we? So for me, it's a huge issue. The reason why he's around is because we sold so much experience that we have already spoken about. Our average is about the youngest, I believe, in the Premier League, which is around 21 and a half, if I'm not wrong at times. So for me, Sterling, that is one reason why he's there. Because you know that if he's in the right position, you probably are okay, confident that at least he'll get a shot on target. He misses a lot, but at least he'll do that. So his experience counts in Premier League. But yeah, I agree with Gaurav that Sterling, given a choice, if Nkunku was fit, I wouldn't have started Sterling for this game. As simple as that.
Yeah. Jack, I suppose we obviously know who's obviously going to start on goal. We kind of know who's going to start defense, midfield. Like we kind of know about that midfield attack. What attack do you think we'll go with on Sunday?
Who with the link up in pre-season? No, we spoke already tonight, boys, and we pre-season. We had Voronin, Anchor. I don't know if you remember him, play for us. He was getting bags of goals in pre-season. We know what happened with him.
Yeah, we know the Shevchenko part 2 is here. It's the real Shevchenko.
Yeah.
I remember those days, yes.
But it's mad, hopefully. But the link-up play between Gakpo and Jota has been extremely, extremely good. I think it will be Gakpo, Jota, and Salah. But Núñez could start him. He's been great in pre-season. Probably he's the most recognised out-and-out striker we have. But I think Gakpo, tremendous. We spoke about value tonight in terms of getting players. I think Gakpo in this current climate and market he's a £100 million player for me. And we got him for 30 million. It's crazy how good he is. I think he's that level above from Firmino. He's got that physicality. He's got that technical understanding between the lines. So I go with them three, mates. But Núñez and Lucho Diaz. I'm hoping, as we've already discussed this, we'll discuss this season, Doug, with Liverpool. I'm hoping that Lucho does get a lot more goals to his game, but I go Gakpo, Jota, and Salah for me, mate, up front.
Yeah, I suppose a sort of question on sort of Chelsea anchor. Who's going to play on the right hand side? Because there's been a lot of rumours potentially Madueke could potentially start.
I doubt it because Madueke did not play a single minute of preseason, right? So he was supposed to. He was supposed to be one of the main guys, and that's one reason. Like, see, again, sometimes I don't want to say it, but injuries are not too bad always. Like we see that way because we just see those players that we see on the screen. But football, we all have played some level of football. We understand that there's always an opportunity for a youngster. I think Liverpool have thought that way for years together. Of course, thanks to FSG to some extent forcefully, but I think that helps. So that's where I think Gabriel, I was surprised that he was let go on loan because he had such a good preseason. And Martsen probably, I'm guessing, is one option that we have. But again, going back to the same thing which Gaurav commented on, I think because we don't have anyone, Martsen has been good, by the way, but because we don't have anyone so experienced in that line of the game, I think we'll probably have Sterling there, whether we like it or not. I think Sterling's going to play there, and you have Mudryk on the left-hand side because of the Trent space in behind. I think this makes more sense. And in between, probably Carney. If you see a 4-2-3-1, I think Carney Chukwuemeka with Jackson has got an understanding going. I know it's still early days for him. He isn't the finished article, but I think I'd rather have him than a Gallagher there. Gallagher's good and best in a three-man midfield, in a flat midfield of three, or maybe playing like say someone who's aggressive pressing from the front. So Poch likes to do that, but I would rather have the quality and the skills of Carney there. But yeah, on the right-hand side, I can only see Sterling starting. I would have played Martsen as well. That's what Gaurav was saying. I agree.
Yeah, Matsson's been very, very impressive in pre-season. A couple of wee comments here. Dark Knight, Lukaku is not. I don't think Lukaku is even going to play in a Chelsea shirt anymore. There's been a lot of reports. Apparently, Poch just doesn't want him. Just doesn't want him.
It's mad though, boys, isn't it? You look at the profile. How old's Rom? Is he like 30 now? But even still, like a player of his ability, I know we joke about his ability certain times, especially his first touch, not the best. He was man in the match for City last season in Champions League. I tell you what, great defender. No screaming.
And for Belgium against Croatia in that group which eliminated them, right? So
yeah, he must have signed for City.
Honestly, I don't know what I was watching in that game, Belgium Croatia.
But in terms of the quality of player, though, boys, like, was it Ruben swap deal for
Gareth says, I would rather play Maatsen over Sterling, which is interesting.
Yeah. Exactly, I understand. But I think Jack is referring to the swap with Vlahovic, right? As in, see, again, tell me, Jack, if you all, I know Liverpool, I don't think it's the best example.
I did see something like that.
But don't you
Um,
think that paying 40 million for Vlahovic and give Lukaku after the fact that we have
mm,
just paid about 98 million
yeah,
for Lukaku in the first instance is a huge issue, right?
Yeah, I think even when you signed him, mate, I'm pretty sure you probably went for 90 million. Even when United signed him for big money as well. Like we've already spoke about the valuations are through the roof on all players, mate. But a club like Chelsea, mate, I do well. Grew up, you yourself, mate, watching Chelsea having great legendary strikers, Zola, obviously Didier Drogba stepping up on the big occasions. I think that's massively. When I look at Chelsea now from a neutral point of view, I think they miss an out and out number 9, mate. Obviously, you mentioned Nkunku, but I think having that predator between the box,
Yeah.
I think that's probably when we're
Yeah.
speaking
No,
about getting
profile
an
wise,
example.
I understand. And I get it. Profile wise, I think what Lukaku could have been, what should have been is different, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that we were at least open to the conversation of Vlahovic. But it comes down to the finances at some point because, like you said, right? Because say what Brighton has been doing to us and say Leicester, with all due respect, did it. Let's be real with for Fofana and Maguire. So we don't want to get in that situation with European clubs as well. Already, I think Premier League clubs already are doing that with Chelsea. So I think I get that why Poch and directors don't want to do that the Vlahovic deal because it'll bring a great plan B. I get that. Like Jackson is very good in all aspects except for maybe the hold up as well as the heading ability, something that he could improve on, which is a work in progress. But I
yeah,
think he reminds me very much, if you guys remember, if you relate to Chelsea strikers that you mentioned, a Demba Ba or maybe a Loic Remy, because they were strikers who are very good up front, very underrated in my opinion. Didn't play enough as a starter, but someone who could play wideish as well. They ran channels very well and ran in behind as well as linked up. So that's a profile I'm talking about, which is not bad.
Sorry,
yeah,
a bit off.
absolutely.
Joe, I was just going to quickly ask Ankit. I'm smiling to myself, but I don't think it will happen, like to say the least. Would you, or do you think, how would Chelsea fans feel if they put a bid in for Kane or got him next summer under Poch?
Bite your hand off, mate. Obviously,
Yeah.
like Kane,
Because I'm thinking to myself, him in a Chelsea system, he's obviously
it's a
Poch being.
perfect fit, and that's why I'm surprised that even like if you see the football that we play as a club, I know that people say we don't have that identity that we built. Actually, it is not too dissimilar than a Real Madrid, how we are run as a club, as well as basically even the football. It's not very dissimilar over the years. And I think that even like you mentioned, Chelsea definitely because of the Poch connection, but I'm very surprised that Real Madrid are so into the Mbappe thing. I think they should have just gone for Kane. I'm very surprised with that. And
Mm.
then he would have definitely moved. Now he's in two minds. But yeah, he's not coming. Dreams are great to be, thought of, but it's not happening. Daniel Levy, we know what happened with Modric. Never can forget that.
There'd be a
And they can't
meltdown, to
bury
say
him.
the least, from Tottenham fans anyway. If they
Yeah.
did.
Just
Yeah.
very, very quickly, Liz, thank you very, very much for the $5 super chat. Really do appreciate it. She says, I hope Liverpool fans are happy Sunday. Sorry, Anka. It's pronounced James freaking Milner. Let's effing go. Thank you very much, Liz. I really do appreciate that as well. Sort of going towards season expectations. Anka, what would be a successful season for Chelsea?
Yeah, again, like if you ask my head, I'm going to say that definitely, as in we cannot go below top four. As in maybe it became a top five now that the fifth club also gets into the Champions League, I believe, as per the new coefficients.
Yeah.
But I let's be real, top four means something at least. So I think I'd rather go with that, considering we do not have European football, and I think we have a lot of time on the training pitch. No more excuses. Uh, yeah, we have injuries, but we've been injury FC for a while now. Same with Liverpool. I'm pretty sure both our clubs are known for getting injuries. So that's part and parcel now. You make your right choices right now. You still have 19 days to figure it out in transfer window. We should be getting top four. But if you really ask me, being old school, and you guys know I am, I'd rather even like I'm okay for even like I know fifth place and worst to worst case even sixth place considering we were 12th last season. But if you give me a trophy, as in that trophy, as in almost I'm spoiled as a Chelsea fan. Of course, having been seen times of 1990s and now I know that and kind of being double standards myself. But the fact is, so much competition and Chelsea especially have lost a lot of English Cup finals and Liverpool know the best why we have lost. So I think it's time that this young squad, get that, and that'll probably get them grow quicker than anything, more than the top four. I genuinely believe. As in, people are so. I don't know what about you guys, but again coming back to the Arsenal signing people for Champions League when you're there, like playing the group stages of the Champions League and the round of 16 of Champions League. Yes, it's great, but I don't think it is as motivating compared to maybe say you win an FA Cup and a Carabao Cup and you get top four. I don't know. I'm just saying, for me.
Yeah, winning's so important, mate, isn't it? For like all of our clubs, like it's at the end of the day, like when obviously me and Doug had these debates when we won that obviously FA Cup and League Cup season the year before last. Everyone goes, "Oh, you missed out on Champions League and that," but we still won trophies, like, and it's like this, just football, especially in Premier League. It's like demeaning the FA Cup and the League Cup, like, of course, obviously the generations before us, all three of us, and a lot of us in chat. Obviously, the FA Cup was the pinnacle in certain elements, really. But I think every football club should have an aspiration of just winning trophies. And I think that'll be a massive point for you and get the Chelsea lads, and that is if you can get a trophy, especially under this season for Poch, that might give him a bit more time, the extra 12 months that he might need to very much say, right, here's the clear progression. But I think it's very similar when Klopp took over Liverpool in terms of Pochettino implementing his philosophy on the team. It's not going to be yourself, mate. It's not going to be an instance, like it's not going to happen overnight. It's I think the most important thing for Chelsea and even Liverpool when Klopp took over was just seeing that clear plan and understanding where you can see it slowly coming together. Because obviously Chelsea have had that many managers in recent seasons where you're like chopping and changing like tactics and managers, and a lot of it does get mixed up even with the players as well. When you're buying players for certain different systems, there's a lot of cross wires in reality, mate. But yeah, I think trophies are so important, mate, and hopefully for both clubs if we can, and especially getting beat on penalties. There's no worse thing of being there, mate, like this.
Yeah, like I remember the game against Leicester FA Cup. Obviously, we went on to win the Champions League that year. Then the Liverpool 2 games, obviously, one cannot forget. And of course, who can forget the Kepa episode that we had with Man City? And in that game, also, arguably, we were, quite good, in fact. So, as a lot of these youngsters probably have seen that, maybe on the sidelines or been there, say a person like Reece James, a young captain. So, for me, like, Poch has spoken about personalities. If you see his recent press conferences, I think it's all about personalities, and we all talk about experience going. But I remember when Mourinho was around, like Mourinho, when he came to the Premier League, he wasn't like that old, right? He was like just a couple of European Cups only, but I think it was not the experienced manager we're talking about. And again, a team that we relate to maybe the John Terrys of the world, as in the leaders that we had in Liverpool, Manchester United as well. If you see a lot of leaders, they probably became leaders very early on. And I think that kind of helps at times. So I don't think it's a very bad thing, but you're right, as in winning that trophy probably puts a different mentality, once you are a player, right? Because you want to get to that level where you really are like, okay, fine, we are competing. Like Enzo Fernandez, he's just won a World Cup and come. Now he's speaking the right things. But if you listen to the other Chelsea players, they're probably not in that zone because they've just finished 12th, So that's what we need. But let's see.
You're good, Doug. Yeah, I think you sound out and mate. Oh, good. Oh, hello, Doug.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, apologies. I'm not sure what's happened. The gremlins have came in tonight, but we'll end on the score predictions. This will be very, very interesting considering the last 4 games have been 0-0. Jack, what are you going to go for?
I'm going to go big, mate. I went big on the pre-season one, didn't I? So, yeah, both teams quite frail at the back. So I'm going to go 3-3, bit of a mad one. I think first weekend of the Premier League. I think it's just going to be both
3-3. Wow.
Yeah, so I'm going to go 3-3. It's going to be shocking defending. We'll probably be pulling our hair out, both teams going, what is this? But it'll just proper be, I think it'll be like a re-entering of football fans and Liverpool and Chelsea fans are going, right, both teams are back. We're back in the Prem. Let's get started. I think it's bound to be a draw. I think both managers would like 3 points, but I'm going to go 3-3. It's a bit mad, but neutrals enjoy it, but I don't think both sets of fans will.
Interesting. As in 3-all, who wouldn't take that? I think first game of the season, I think we'll take that. But I have a strange feeling. I know that Doug's not asked both of us about the predictions yet, but for me, like in terms of the league predictions, I've said it all along the last month or so, right? Looking at both preseasons and the transfers, I feel that it's between Liverpool and Chelsea. I genuinely believe that between that like fourth and fifth spot. That's my prediction. Just letting it out early. Although I'm releasing a video tomorrow morning, but I couldn't wait for that. So, in my personal opinion, guys, I think it's going to be a match where I can see, because of that potential rivalry this season, which is going to come back, I can see the early minutes being a little bit cagier than what we generally anticipate, and then see the first half kind of being a nil-nil. I know in nil-nil and Liverpool Chelsea is like so common, but it's a Stamford Bridge, right? So I think that gives us a little bit edge in the second half, and the crowd hopefully will pump us up a little bit more. So I can see a couple of goals coming for us and Liverpool to score one. So I'm going 2-1 Chelsea.
2-1 Chelsea. Well, Jack's gone 3. Jack's gone 3-3. Anka's gone 2-1 Chelsea. I've got to be honest, I think it's going to be a draw. The last 4 games have been draws. I don't see it being any different. But
come on,
I am going to go for goals. I'm going to go 1-1. I'm going to go 1-1. I'll go for Jota to score for us, and then I think actually Jackson. I think Jackson will score. There's actually a few comments actually about Salah. Just don't want to see Salah scoring against us, says Pudding. Salah always scores in the opening day. He certainly does. This is a much difficult task, to say the very least. I don't think you will know that Salah has scored on every opening day for Liverpool. He certainly has. So let's see some of your predictions. Liz, thank you once again for the $2 super chat. Hit that dang like button. It gets worse every day. Putin's got Mudryk hat-trick. Interesting. Elevator says 3-1 Chelsea. We seem... It would be the maddest thing. Actually, it would be the most Liverpool thing to see Mudryk potentially score against us. It would be the maddest thing, because we let Richarlison score against us, so no doubt we'll let Mudryk score. Chelsea 3, Liverpool 1. Them seem to like a lot of goals. Yeah, absolutely. Dez is going Chelsea 4, Liverpool 1. Wild Dez going 4-2. We can't score 3 at all. 2 is too much for us these days, says Gurab. 2-1 Liverpool, says Gurab. 3-1 Liverpool, says Liz. Salah always scores in the opening day. Rennie's gone Salah hat-trick. Gareth has gone Salah will score a goal. Dark Knight's gone Jota the slaughter. Salah brace, says Liz. Well, Liverpool defence so bad, going to let in at least 2. Predator Gaming ours has gone 7-0 Chelsea.
I can just imagine the meltdown on Twitter from our
Chris. How do you
not
get
doing an Aston Villa?
We're
not doing an Aston Villa. Pretty sure we won't.
Hopefully not, mate.
Yeah, Chris, that's dreadful. That is dreadful. 3-0 in the last 4. Yeah. Holland is going 4-2 Chelsea to win. Liverpool strike force going to score 3 at least, as well, Dead. Saying that the way football is, I could wake up to Salah playing for a team in Saudi Arabia. That ain't happening. Not this season, definitely. As a Chelsea fan, I'm worried about Liverpool because they... something. Damn, Jack looks like a young Christopher Nolan, says Putin.
Interesting. Wouldn't mind making some of Nolan's movies, mate. A bit of dough as well.
Actually, he's right. As in, he does. Jack does look like a young Nolan. Exactly.
Thank you, mate. I'll take it. There we go.
Yeah. Daz, hello, mate. Daz says 2-0, he says. Liverpool attack is quite lethal and our defence isn't good, so I'm not confident. Salah, Jota, Gakpo, Nunes and Diaz will score 100 league goals between them. Bookmark this comment. Wow, Dark Knight. That is something to say.
It is the best attack in town. I agree.
Yeah, we do that, but we concede probably 99 along the way as well. It's going to be one of those seasons. It's going to be bad.
It's like the equivalent of Brendan Rodgers Liverpool, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a mad season. It was the 13-14 season. That was crazy.
We conceded 50 goals that season as well. Gareth, you shouldn't. Our defence is almost as easy to open up than opening up a candy sale, says Elevator. Hello, Dark Knight. Spencer's gone 1-1. Daz, that works for me. Want to buy a pair of camouflage that's fine, any. Oh dear. Same for us. At least you have experience. We know experience and aren't good at set pieces, etc. Hello, Daz, pal. I'm good, thanks. It's my birthday. Happy birthday, Dark Knight. Hope you have a very, very good day. Yeah. Premier League football starts tomorrow, which will be very, very good. Happy birthday, Dark Knight. Jokes aside, 2-2 draw again, says Predator Gaming. Looks more like Sting Roxanne. I'm not sure who that is, but I'll take your word for it. Puddin said, Ellie, happy birthday. Happy birthday, Ellie Dark Knight. Everyone's saying happy birthday. As well. Don't mention the belly. Oh, yeah, Brendan Rodgers. Yeah. Sorry, Chris. Gareth says, what's your preferred front three for Liverpool? I agree with what Jack said earlier. I think it will be Jota, Gakpo, and Salah. Obviously, I would want to see Diaz maybe start, but I think
But
if we're
Nunes
being
has
honest, I think
scored goals
Jota,
for fun in preseason, hasn't he?
he has, yeah.
Like,
I think you'll probably see Nunes potentially sort of start more maybe in Europa League. Not sure the Premier League.
He's a substitute in this game, probably. Yeah, comes on.
It's supposed like though.
Elevator says Manchester United have apparently agreed.
Carry on. Sorry, I'll ask Ankit in a second. I was just carry on. No, I was just going to ask him, Ankit, are you worried for the supposed like rocket?
Elevator says Man United.
I think Doug's lagging a little bit.
Yeah. Sorry, Doug.
Probably.
Sorry, Doug. Carry on, lad. Keep on writing down the comments. Oh, good.
Yeah, please. Go ahead.
That's all right. Manchester United have apparently agreed a fee for Fred transfer. I did see that as well. Everyone's saying happy birthday to Dark Knight. Welsh Javi, never forget. Puddin, your guess is as good as mine. Why Liverpool, Man United not signing defenders? No idea. Let me know about Paqueta. Yeah, that's a mad one. That's a mad one. Oh, Liz. What manager gets sacked first? Well, if you had Lopetegui as the first manager to lose his job, I'm going to go David Moyes.
David?
Yeah,
I'd go David Moyes as well, mate. They are finished, West Ham. Like, especially if City do buy Paqueta, it's going to be crazy. I'd say
Paqueta, Rice, isn't it? It makes sense. But you know what? I have I know that's not the philosophy of the club after investing so much, but I can kind of feel what exactly Arsenal fans may feel if Arteta doesn't get that start. Because I know Lampard is now very infamous as a manager, but the first stint of Lampard, we know that he didn't do as bad as what he was made out to be. In the second year, we bought a lot of players and the pressure was right on. I know the Chelsea, we are a different club, we act differently, but Arteta has got that previously as well. I remember that year also Arteta was in the pressure, and now after not winning the league, after being on top for 248 days and spending 250 million, I think the pressure will be there if they don't really do that. It might be an unpopular opinion, but I actually feel that might be the thing. Let's see.
Yeah. There is actually a lot of people actually saying potentially Arteta, Moyes, as well. Areola, I think, was the new Bournemouth manager, but I think that a lot of people actually were saying online as well with Gary O'Neill potentially, but Gareth says Roy Hodgson. I don't see Roy Hodgson getting sacked. I think he would probably resign and get back to the pipe, the gown, and the slippers like he should be. 76 years old, Roy Hodgson. It's actually mad to see him back in the top flight. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely as well. But yeah, guys, I think we will leave it there. Thank you very much to everyone who has watched as well. We are on 40 likes. Thank you very much, everyone. Really do appreciate that as well. Jack, tell the people where they can find you.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Ankit. It's been an absolute pleasure, boys. Obviously, Anfield Road TV on all socials, TikTok and Facebook and YouTube and all that, mate. Should have a Chelsea build-up show tomorrow. Might go live a bit tonight. Ben's just talking about Lavry and that, boys. But it's been an absolute pleasure. Enjoyed it, as always, boys, for you two. And hopefully we get a cracking game on the weekend. Hopefully one of our sides win, or might just get another draw. We'll find out. But yeah, thank you, Doug. Thank you, Ankers, as well, and chat. Have a lovely rest of your weekend and enjoy the football. It's bloody back. Get in.
It's bloody back. It's absolutely back. Yeah, Ankit, thank you very much. I forgot to say at the start of the show, congratulations on 10,000 subscribers. That is absolutely amazing. I remember when you started out. As well, obviously, you
always
had
call Doug an
my
OG,
MP Jackson.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think again, Almighty Blues. I always say Almighty Blues FC is a fan channel for all to see. The idea is we all love football. Obviously we love our clubs. No two ways about it. But I think knowing Doug, knowing Jack, a lot of people in the chat, I can see that again the OGs. I call them that because we generally connected when we were a few hundreds, if I remember right, Doug. As in probably that's when we connected, and then we just went. But the idea is to try and cover as much football as possible, be it the World Cup, be it the Euros, be it any club football that I wanted, because that's what we are all addicted to. I mean, all of us, literally, right? Yeah. And I've been doing that for years. The idea is that, so let's see if we can grow even better. But yeah, there's another channel that I'm on, Almighty Sports, and there I speak a little bit of cricket and a little bit of neutral football content, quizzes. I know Doug loves his quizzes. Jack, I'm not sure if you've come on. I need to call you.
I'm shocking at quizzes, mate, but I'll come on.
It's a fun one. Doug can back me there, right? So it's a fun one that we do. So Jack, openly inviting you. So we'll probably have a good time there. And I think Doug is there on the leaderboard. So you have one to, look up to now. So
I'll knock you off to hopefully. Knock you off the top spot.
Good stuff. But great to be here. It's with the OGs is always good. It's just that the time don't match all the time, but I wish it does. And now that the season has begun, you know that I'm awake. I know that you're awake, so we'll definitely have more streams together, hopefully.
Yeah, 100%. And guys, do check out Almighty Blues FC and do check out Almighty Sports Plus as well. Just very, very quickly, I will read these last few comments. Haaland, I heard the Man City Lords. Yes, I believe it was turned down as well. So apparently West Ham are the Moneyball team this season. They're wanting, I think, 110 million euros for Paqueta. So it's whether or not Manchester City will obviously go up to that as well. But yeah, that's been rejected. So I think you might need to offer just a little bit more as well. I have heard you want him, but that's all I have heard. Not heard of me as well. But guys, thank you very much for watching this evening. And Premier League is back. The Premier League is well and truly back. And yeah, Burnley against Manchester City, the first game. But who cares about them when you got Sunday game between Chelsea and Liverpool at 4:30. From the three of us, it is good night, and we'll see you very, very soon. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you.